choice of agreeing with it or disagreeing with it or ignoring it, but he agreed with it and signed it into law. And this became a law in March of 2010, as I understand it. So now there are certain people that will find things that are potentially unconstitutional. So it goes before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court justices rule on it, and they say this is a constitutional act. And so now it is the law of our land, and we have to abide by it. So, Michael, what I would like to do is take us on a stepwise journey through this whole process. First, you could tell us maybe why this came into effect, why we needed this in terms of what our country's doing monetarily and costs, et cetera. And then we will move into the law itself, and then we'll figure out how to help people find out about it. So go for it, Michael.
Well, and let me continue, Glenn, a bit on the constitutionality issue, because it's really interesting. Justice Roberts, the Chief Justice, said to the court, basically, this is a constitutional law. It's sort of a silly one that I don't necessarily like, but being a law that I don't like doesn't make it unconstitutional. What the court did say, though, which is very important, is that the federal government could not force every state to participate, which was part of the original law. The original law had all 50 states participating in the Affordable Care Act, but as we'll talk about, the states must match certain federal funding with their own dollars. And the court said you can't really force the state to do that. So what we ended up with was some states participating with the federal government and developing their own state health plan. And in California, where we're at, it's called Covered California. Those states that didn't want to participate use what's called the federal exchange. So a lot of times you'll hear on the news talking about the federal exchange. A lot of discussion right now about how the federal exchange website, where you actually go in. So if you're part of Georgia, for example, and you can just pick any of the states that don't participate. But if you're part of a state that doesn't participate, you go to the federal exchange, and there's been a lot of technical issues and a lot of criticism of that website, which at first was attributed to the very big demand. As it's now going on, there's some technical issues that they need to not only address, but are fairly embarrassing for everyone that is trying to move this forward. So that still has to get figured out, but we can talk a bit about that. So the question, Glenn, is how did we get here?